I wanted to address a point that a commenter brought up about my video, starting with $0 saving for retirement at age 50. And I thought the comment that this individual brought up was a really good comment. And it was along the lines of it's really difficult to start from zero at age 50 and basically floor it for the next 20 years. And there's absolutely no wiggle room and no room for error. And I thought, boy, isn't that brings a very interesting point to the foreground with retirement savings. And I understand that Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z are having a very different conversation about retirement savings from baby boomers and silent generation. But the bottom line is you have to do it now, or you can do it later. But if you do it later, it's much, much harder versus if you do it now. And this is really a message for younger people who are just starting out. I remember when I was 20 or 21 and I was just starting out, I was working. I could have put money away from retirement savings, but there wasn't really social media. So I didn't really have the knowledge and how to do it. And it wasn't part of the larger conversation about retirement. I was told it was something that I could think about later. Now, I think for especially millennials and Gen Zers, there's a lot more information out about starting a brokerage account, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, 401ks, et cetera. And so the net result is a lot of the younger generation, they are starting earlier, which is very good. But we have a lot of people who didn't get the message and started saving for retirement a little bit later or sometimes a lot later. And what I wanted to show you in this video is the difference doing it when you're young versus doing it when you're old can make, and it is considerable. And my own personal story in terms of retirement saving, I did some savings on and off when I was in my 20s, but I really didn't get serious about retirement savings until I was about 36, until I actually became a financial advisor and I started learning more about compound interest and started doing retirement savings and retirement planning. And I could kick myself because the years between probably 20 and 35 are your most important years. And the work that I had done towards building wealth was really negligible. I really hadn't invested much of anything. I really hadn't saved anything. I think I had, when I started out, a grand total of maybe $25,000, and that was it, starting at age 36. I've since, in the past decade, built up that sum, but like many Americans, missed my prime retirement savings years because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know, and I didn't understand that missing that 15-year window of time can be absolutely catastrophic when you are talking about building wealth or saving for retirement. And if you miss that window of time between 20 and 35, the only way you can really make up for that window of time is by money. So, instead of getting away with putting away 10% of my salary in a retirement savings, I now have to put in considerably more to make up for the years that I just didn't contribute. I'm not perfect, even as a financial professional, and I do have my own regrets. And I know there are tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, of Americans who wish they had a do over in terms of building wealth and can go back to their younger years and make some better financial decisions. I actually wanted to show you the difference between starting at age 21 versus starting at age 50. And we're going to use an 80-20 portfolio split, 80% stock, 20% bonds. And this is based on the S&P 500. And we're going to look at this person and same person if they start saving for retirement at age 21. And we're going to say they save $10,000 a year. Now, I know this is hard for people who are in their early 20s. Most people in their early 20s are not earning that much money to get their hands on $10,000 or more to save for retirement. This person would probably have to be a pretty high income earner out the gate of college, probably needs to be earning near or over six figures immediately. And that's exceptionally rare for someone who is 21. But let's say this person is in an occupation where they're earning a good salary and they're going to put away $10,000 a year. The trick is they're only going to do it between ages 21 and 36. So they're going to do this for about 15 years. Then they're not going to save another penny ever again for their retirement. Now, occasionally I do encounter people in this situation. It's very rare, but some people were lucky enough to be high income earners immediately out of college and they were able to save. And it's always the question, should I continue saving? 36, in my opinion, is a little young to stop saving, especially if you have a matching contribution from your employer or you don't have any Roth money. There may be some areas of opportunity to really give you like a super retirement. And so rarely will a person stop saving at 36, but we're just going to go with this example to show you the power of starting when you are young. So the example, this person starts at age 21, goes to 36, only contributes $10,000 a year. And then we're going to give an example of this person decides they're going to wait, or something happens, life comes along, and they can't start saving for retirement until they are age 50. And when they are age 50, they are going to max it out forevermore. So the catch-up contribution starting at age 50 is about 31,000. When they're at age 60, they're going to do the additional catch-up for people age 60, 61, 62, or 63. And basically 64 on, they're going to go back to 31,000 because that extra catch-up provision is only for ages 60 to 63. And they are going to work straight through to age 67. Now, based on this information, same person just started very different places and saving for retirement. They save a lot more money if they start at age 50, but they have a lot more time if they start at age 21. Who has the most money at retirement? Who has the most money? And you can put it in the comments section. You can put your thoughts, but I can look at this, and because I'm a financial professional and I do a lot of financial projections, I can tell the person who started at 21 and contributed less money over a 15-year period of time, but had more years for compound interest to work, probably has more than double the money that the older individual has. And let's take a look at it to reveal the numbers. Okay. So this individual who started young, by time he or she is age 67, they're estimated to have 3.7 million in retirement accounts. And this individual that starts at age 50 and saving for retirement will have 1.3 million in retirement accounts. That's almost triple. And I'm a little bit surprised. I knew it would be at least double, but this is formidable, like how much extra money this person who started early has in their retirement account. And this really emphasizes the point that time plays a huge role in the equation of wealth building. If you give me enough time and you give me enough consistency, I will guarantee you I will make you a millionaire. If you run out of time or if you're not consistent enough, everything starts to fall apart. And the thing is, with this 50-year-old who's starting at 50, but putting everything away, this person can't miss a beat, right? This person can't say, okay, this year's a tight year or something's gone sideways this year and I can't contribute. This person cannot say, I am going to take money out of this account for a first time home purchase. This person basically has to put pedal to the metal for 17 years to have 1.3 million at retirement, which is a pretty good sum, but especially if this person doesn't have pension and Social Security, they're solo and they only have one Social Security, they may need every penny of this 1.3 million. So can you start saving for retirement at age 50 and build up like a decent sum of money? Yes. Should you start saving for retirement at age 50? No. And this example is a perfect prime example. This individual who did start at 21, they only contributed $10,000 a year and they stopped at age 36 and never contributed a penny more. This person has wiggle room. This person can come at age 26 and say, you know what, this is a super tight year for me. I just can't contribute this year. Can I take a year off? Yes, you can. We'll just move everything up and you'll reach 37 and you'll have to put in an extra 10,000 and it'll be fine. Or you just put in a $2,000 extra each year going forward to make up for that year that you missed when you were like 26 and couldn't contribute, and you'll be fine. This person comes to you at age 38 and says, hey, I want to make my first home purchase and I can withdraw up to $10,000 penalty free. Can I do that? Yes, you can. We have more than enough time to make it up. We can use that money for things that are within certain parameters, but are outside of retirement savings because we built up a considerable balance by that point. Also, there have been periods in history where there have been successive years of negative returns. There have been points in the past where there have been 3 years of successive negative returns. These numbers for the 80/20 return history go back to 2003. So it doesn't go back far enough, but there have been moments in histories with 3 years of successive negative returns. The person who started at 21 is going to be just fine. If you start at age 50 and you hit 3 years of successive negative returns and saving for your retirement, it's absolutely catastrophic. There is no room for error there. You are facing the real possibility that instead of retiring at age 67, you're going to have to work until age 70. Another thing, like there have been periods in history, in American history, like if you look at stock market returns between 1960 and 1970, it was basically flat. There were up, down, and everything in between in that decade, but the net result of that decade was flat. It was basically a lost decade of growth in the American economy. If you're starting at 21, we can figure out a way to work around that. Yes, it would affect the ultimate end return here, but we can work around that to make sure that you have a retirement. If you have a lost decade of growth and you started saving at age 50, there's no way to work around that. You're working beyond 70, probably well beyond 70 at that point. So my point in showing you this number, if you are younger, and you don't necessarily have to be 21, if you're 31, that's fine. If you're younger, start now. Please do not delay it. Please do not put it off. Please do not think that you can get away waiting until you are 50 to start on this endeavor. Start now. Even if you can only do a few $100 a month, you have to get the forward momentum going. And the first few years are agonizingly slow. This person really doesn't cross the 100,000 threshold until 8 years in. And so things can move really slowly on this path, but you see the overall net result over a 40 plus year period of time is pretty staggering. If you are 50 and just getting started, fine, just get started. The more you can save at that point, the better. This person is pretty extraordinary in that they can put away 31,000 a year pretty consistently. I don't know very many Americans who can do that. This is probably 8 to 10% of the population that can consistently do that. But you cross the 100,000 threshold in good market conditions by year 3 or year 4. So you get a lot more momentum a lot quicker. 1.3 million isn't a small amount to sneeze at. And even if things don't quite work out, let's say a few years you can only do 15,000 or you can't even do that, you do 10,000, you can still work it where you have a high 6 figure, low 7 figure in your retirement account. It's just really important to get started, but it's really to your benefit and it's really to all Americans and wealth builders' benefit to start as early as possible and not wait until 50 to start saving for your retirement. So there you have it. I just wanted to take a few minutes to point out this important fact. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. And if you found this information useful, please share and subscribe.